the Avatar cut.
That was the 3-hour version,
yeah.
right?
So, you know, at some point there's that perfect balance of not too short and not too long. But I think there's somewhere in there there's a 3-hour Avatar cut that.
If people have to get up for multiple bathroom breaks, I think it's too long.
Yeah.
Way too long.
Yeah.
I was watching it
too long.
I was watching the first cut with my family, and my son's like, "I like it, Dad, but maybe I can go get some toys just so I can take breaks in the middle when I get bored." I was like,
Thank you for that.
Me too. Can I get a few too?
It's like watching Lord of the Rings, but with boring musicians instead of hobbits. Yeah.
Nowhere near as fascinating.
Yeah.
Is there an audience reaction so far that has surprised you from this film? Like, because I know sometimes you guys probably listen to the audience watching the film. Has there been like more people laugh, or they're like reacting different ways than you expected?
The most surprising thing to me is the things that they laugh at that are really uncomfortable to us.
Oh.
In Australia, we have some really difficult shows that are just so uncomfortable for us to watch. We're just watching ourselves just, you know, fail and get just pummeled on stage in front of hostile crowds, and to the audience it's hilarious.
They like your failure.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a shot of us, you know, kind of just recovering from this awful show, and we're all just so, I don't know, just worked, and I thought people would react like, oh, wow. Yeah, they just start cracking up.
Oh, well.
It was really fun. The first.
It is a kind of a funny. I mean,
it is
if
funny.
you're not experiencing it, and you're just watching it because it's relatable. Because everyone's
like
done
a cartoon.
So it's funny.
And I'm not offended that they're laughing.
Yeah.
I'm glad they see the humor in it.
I think that's been my favorite thing is I think film offers you the perspective of seeing it from a third party. You know, where you think
That's true.
You know, the first night that I snuck around front to catch a little bit of it, it felt like, so this is what people see, you know, this is interesting.
Yeah.
And it is laughable. And I love it. I love it when the audience is engaged like that, when they're laughing and, you know, hooting for the surf and whatever, you know, like physically responding to the movie.
I just have to do a few questions about the album because, you know, more and more fans are going to start to see the movie, but there's still a lot of curiosity coming out about the album. So this person said, what was your focus and goal musically with this album? For example, the way Vice Versa was intended, I think that's intended, to feature stronger drum bass grooves.
Yeah, this one was very deliberately looking to the landscapes that we were encountering and trying to draw our inspiration from these wide open spaces and also deliberately shying away from traditional Western rock and roll instruments. So drums, bass, guitar at last resort, you know. So for example, we played a lot of synths. We played instruments that we found in Bali, played instruments that were given to us while we toured through Latin America, and different things that felt like they were, even if it didn't correspond with Bali per se, felt a little bit more exotic than, you know, Fender made in California. and so I think this album for a lot of people is going to be a shocker in the production. You know, I think that it's definitely, it takes them on a ride, and I love that about it.
That's good. What's each of your favorite songs from the album at this point, and what is the story behind the song? And then I have to put a PSA in here for you because a lot of people ask that you do song stories again for Fading West, like how you would for the other ones, where you'd like write a little paragraph about each song.
Yeah.
And that never happened with Vice Versa's, and I got so many requests for them. Everyone's like, "Do you have John's song stories?" I'm not hiding them. I don't have it. You know? So same with Fading West. A lot of people have requested that. Just a note. But yeah, so you guys have a favorite song from the album yet?
There's a bunch that the process of winnowing the song selection down to the final 11 that are going on the record was probably the hardest one we've ever done, because we had spent so much time really pushing ourselves and challenging ourselves. So you've kind of got like 3 or 4 albums along the way that you're kind of leaving behind of material, you know. And so these 11, I could say there's probably at least 3 or 4 that I could call my favorites. I think one of them would have to be Say It Like You Mean It.
I like that song.
It's kind of a rocker. I think, like for example, Tim's song is one of my favorites, but it didn't fit with the rest of the record. So it's still one of my favorite songs that was a part of making Fading
We'll allow that answer.
Yeah.
You're allowed it.
It's hard to pick. I think Love Alone's Worth the Fight has been one that I've really liked from the moment I heard it. And I feel like the message is really powerful. I relate to it, but I love the way the music just kind of soars. You know, the whole, it used to be called Airy Anthem. That was the working title because it just had this floaty, anthemic, just wide open, bright, shining sunlight kind of imagery all coming from the music.
The description.
I will pick a song called When We Come Alive, which is sort of the moment of the film when we walk on stage at Brougham, and it's sort of our homecoming. And in the film, that works so well visually. It just captures the emotion of what's going on, and I think that's the beauty of having a film to go with the record, is that every time I hear that song, I think of that visual, that moment, and it's a good feeling, you know, that homecoming moment.
And then again, there's been a lot of questions about the title of BA55. And, you know, we talked about it some, and I've kind of shared that with the fans, but people are still asking the title, like, what's the story behind that?
It started as just this bass groove that I demoed up, and so when you demo things, you're not thinking about a song title.
Right.
So it's just a working title. Is it, you know, it looks like bass, but with 5s instead of S's. And then we tried to change the title, and we were like, you know what, it's just not as interesting as BA55, let's just keep it.
Or look into British Airways Flight 55.
There's a conspiracy theory.
Is there? What is it?
It's a deeper meaning.
You don't know. Just let them do the work.
Yeah.
Or I just broke the fourth wall. Let's see. Okay, we already asked that one. What is the most surprising or admirable contribution from the band member to your left to the album? So yeah, circle around.
Yeah, I mean BA55 is a song that could be the first song that, like, Tim contributes so much, and this album couldn't have happened without him. Period. It was Tim stepped up in huge ways, but I think BA55 was the first song that was a seed that Tim had the idea, and the song came from that. And that was, I think that's illustrating kind of the ways that he's kind of coming to his own as a songwriter. It's been really fun for me as a brother to see.
Thanks, man.
I feel like every time we do these interviews, everyone always ends up raving about you for some reason.
Chad is just the funnest drummer to play with ever. And this album, he really dove into non-traditional drums, which was really fun to watch, you know, just exploring how to integrate programming into what he does, and you know, finding non-traditional ways of constructing a whole rhythm bed. And I think it's a huge part of this record, the sounds that Chad's playing, by whatever means he's playing them, whether it's something that was sampled that he's then triggering, or something that he's playing that's not a drum kit, but I think he really just kind of blew the walls wide open.
And all the while making a movie.
Yeah,
because you did the most with the movie,
that's
right?
true.
Like he
you
was,
were like the...
we kind of split up, and the two of us handled the music, and Chad kind of we'd be calling back and forth like, okay, how's it going? All right, you need anything? All right, you know.
It was fun because it was such an enormous project.
Yeah.
And we really, all five of us had to sort of branch out and cover different parts of the project. And yeah, I would come in and do drums and then run up to the editing studio and work on an edit and then come back and show it to them, and then they'd give me, oh, we did this new version of this song. Oh, great, that'll fit in the film. I'll run back up for a couple days up to the studio and then come back. It was just a full tag team in and out the whole time. It was fun.
Okay.
You didn't talk
Oh
about
yeah,
these
you're
to
right.
your left.
Oh,
which
my
are
left.
circles
Thank you,
around.
Tim.
Gina
Thank you.
is,
Well,
what did you contribute?
How did I contribute to the film?
Well, as the sixth band member,
Of course.
I appreciate just the overall vision.
The sixth toe to the foot.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm not sure how I feel about that
Yeah,
analogy
that's usually
there.
the thing. You get cut off. And
Yeah, exactly. That's the weird one. It's like, you're gonna be a freak of nature.
You got the sixth
Freak what
toe.
you saying about me here, too.
In a good way.
Okay.
Provides extra stability.
Exactly. Alright, well, I can't really talk about John because I don't know what you did, so.
Really very little.
Okay.
I will say this about John to my left in a circular fashion. The amount of songs written for this project and just the scope of it, because we were trying to do not only the record, but then when it became time to place songs in film and all the instrumentals and, taking songs out of the vault and placing them, it was just amazing. And through that whole thing, I felt like John didn't lose the joy in the process. Because it was at times just overwhelming, where we're looking at each other going, are we ever going to finish this thing? Finish the album, finish the movie?
Finish any one of these things.
Yeah, and on a daily basis when we would meet up in the studio, I appreciated, John always reminding us, we're living the dream. We're making a movie.
Yeah.
We're making an album. This is awesome.
This is so
that was a running
great.
joke for like a month straight. We were like, well, today's the day, you guys. We're finishing the album.
And that didn't happen.
It didn't happen. We would come in the next day. Well, today's the day, you guys.
And we're still finishing
You're
the
still
album.
not finished.
I
Actually,
said that
Yeah.
today to my
today.
wife. I was like, yeah, we're finishing the album. They were finalizing the last mix.
She's like, heard that one before.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
been saying that for a couple months.
Yeah, and Neil, our producer, has been super patient, and Paul, the guy who edited the movie, both of them. I mean, to be able to continue to stay the course and finish while the course is changing. I think that's the tricky thing about art, is that it's fluid. It's always in motion, and so, like you said with the movie, the goals change along the way, and so you're it could be really frustrating to work alongside of that. Where you're like, oh, we got to the goal. Oh, the goal's over there. But we're here. We worked so hard to get here, and we're now, so I think that's the thing for me that was really important to remember, is the joy, And Chad, I think everyone kind of had their moments of reminding the other person about it.
Okay. Alright, 2 questions left. Let's see, where were we? What was the most important thing that you learned during this journey? Which is kind of a vague question, but if there's something that stands out, like looking back, is there something that you really, that was the defining moment for you?
Don't do a movie and a record at the same time.
Good advice.
No, I'm serious. That's the most important thing I've ever learned from this process.
I was thinking about being a little bit more optimistic, but okay, that's good. Just don't do it,
I've got
ever.
an optimistic perspective on
Okay,
it.
here we go. Balance him out.
Well, I think, because John's right, it was a really hard process because I think the 3 of us in particular, we are very driven. We like to be finishing things, and so to be stuck in the midst of a process that you're not finishing for as long as this was drawn out, a year, 2 years, can be discouraging. And I think I realized somewhere along the way that finishing things is overrated, and that it's actually the journey that you enjoy, and reminding myself that, well, yeah, the album's not finished, the movie's not finished, but look what we get to do every single day while we're trying to finish these books.
Yeah.
What we get to do is our favorite thing in the world, which is go into the studio. We've got all our favorite things in there, all our favorite instruments, and we just get to create. And whether we finish today or a year from now, kind of doesn't matter. We get to, we're living the dream. We're doing our favorite thing in the world every day.
Huh. That was a good optimistic, but yours was okay too, of course.
No, I need that. Thank you. Okay, let's make another one. Here we go.
See, that's the thing. I remember specific days where, you know, it was just either really daunting and we were going, oh my gosh, we'll never do another movie. And then other days where we're having a blast going, well, the next time we'll go here, and then the next film we're gonna go down there and do this. And we're like, wait, are we making another one?
Well, that's the thing.
We'd never make another movie.
You learn so much along the way.
Yeah.
And so, like, if we did it now, it'd be so much easier because of what we know.
Because you know what not to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you spend, you know, the whole time figuring out how to do it, and by the end of the process, you're like, oh, I think we know how we would have done it.
Yeah, because most of the time you're doing it wrong.
Yeah,
And then
exactly.
you're like, in hindsight, that was not the best way.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with any record, though, too. We always joke at the end of the record, we're like, all right, these demos sound pretty good. Now I think we're ready to start recording the real thing.
Yeah.
So I could do it better.
Yeah.
Okay, last one. You guys are constantly being asked questions, but is there something, but if there was something you could ask the fans, what would it be? And you can break the fourth wall and you look at the camera and pretend that's the fans there.
Good, you're turning this around on us.
Yes, we are. Kind of interview them.
I'm always curious as to moments. So I would wonder, what are the moments of interacting with the songs either on CD or at a live show that stick out to you, that were poignant in your mind. I had a conversation with a gentleman last night about a moment that kind of, he was interacting with one of our songs that changed his life. Like he was pointing to that one specific moment. And that, for me as a songwriter, I'm always curious about the moments. Your answer is?
Check on Twitter. We'll hashtag it.
Your silence is definitely.
It'll be hashtag answer
Switchfoot.
Switchfoot.
Answer Switchfoot. Yeah.
Right.
Which was a problem because my hashtag was Ask Switchfoot first, and then you guys started doing that.
Sorry, we stole it.
I'm like, okay, we'll just change it. It was so confusing. That's why you guys are answering questions from people who weren't in the audience.
Yeah, we figured that out after a couple minutes. Oh, this guy's not actually here.
No, yeah, that was me. Sorry about that. Okay.
It's really, really good question. I think one thing I'm curious about in this day and age where everyone has their own website, blog, everyone's a critic and an expert. I think that's kind of unprecedented.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen a dramatic shift even from when we started. And I know for us, you know, being musicians, we listen to music oftentimes differently. You kind of have your critic hat on, and you have your, but at your best, you're trying to kind of get through all the layers and allow music to really affect you, aside from the personal biases that you're bringing to it. But I think that becomes harder and harder the more inundated we are with media and technology. And so I guess my question would be, has the role of music through that, and what are the things about music that take you somewhere else and get you away from the trappings of where you live?
Question. You guys should interview yourself sometimes.
Yeah, that would be fun.
I know.
I don't think that would be fun at all.
Sound like fun.
Have fun with that, Chad.
Interview yourself, Chad. Do a conversation.
Well, Chad,
Dear Chad, what were you thinking?
Put a set up a mirror, you know, so it looks like you're talking to someone.
Yeah. That'll be a weird outtake of the film. Chad with a mirror and a camera interviewing himself. Well, I will ask a question of the public. And it relates to the live show. Because we're trying to do some very different things on this tour. Things that are out of our comfort zone, things we've never done before. We've got this question and answer dynamic. We've got songs that are really stripped down, songs that are new, and putting it all in sort of a different venue because of the film, theaters and all that. And we've done all kinds of tours, big rooms, outdoor, all different situations. But I just wonder, of all these new things that we're experiencing together, what are your favorites? What are the things that connect with you? Because I love the magic that happens when things really work out in a special way in the live dynamic. So let us know. What are your favorite live moments?
All right, that's it. That was
Cool.
it. Yeah.